Canada's Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, also the Finance Minister, is one of the highest profile members of Team Trudeau. She routinely travels the country, giving news conferences and trying to hype the government's record, especially nowadays amid very polling numbers. But today, a report from the Globe and Mail that her future could be in doubt, that Trudeau advisors are apparently questioning her abilities as an effective communicator. And the newspaper also saying the relationship between her office and Justin Trudeau's office has become tense, leading to speculation about the possibility of Mark Carney, former Bank of Canada governor, jumping into politics. Who knows? Let's bring in our national correspondent, Aiello, who's standing by in Ottawa, following and listening in at the keyholes of different doors. I'm kidding, but bring us up to speed here on what this means here and what it doesn't mean, and this ongoing discussion about Mark Carney being this savior to come in and help save the Liberal Party from political oblivion.
Yeah, lots of really interesting big names being thrown around today by the Prime Minister, hitting right on this speculation that we've been covering for months about both the state of the Liberal Party under Justin Trudeau, potential successors to him, Mark Carney, clearly, Todd, being one of the names that keeps getting bandied about. He keeps throwing cold water on it. So today, kind of to bring viewers back to how we got here, there has been pressure on the Prime Minister since that ill-fated by-election late last month to do something to shake things up, turn their fortunes around. And if he's going to stay as Prime Minister, the speculation, Todd, has shifted to what he needs to do within his inner circle, within his front bench of cabinet ministers, to try to show worried Liberals that they can turn things around. So this has prompted some reporting, including from our colleagues at the Globe and Mail and the Toronto Star, that Chrystia Freeland's position as finance minister could be on the table, suggesting there that he could be looking to bring in Mark Carney, that highly talked about potential successor to him, to fill that role. So the Prime Minister was asked about this today. He continues to say, Todd, he has full confidence in Chrystia Freeland and they're going to continue to work together, but did note pretty interestingly that he's been talking to Carney for years.
Yeah, we do have that comment, actually, that Trudeau said at a news conference in Washington today as part of the larger NATO summit when he was asked about this. And let's play that and get a sense of exactly what Trudeau said here.
I have been talking with Mark Carney for years now about getting him to join federal politics. I think he would be an outstanding addition at a time when Canadians need good people to step up in politics.
All right, so what does that mean? And what doesn't it mean? And can you give us a sense of what you think?
So my read on this is twofold, Todd. Clearly, I think it is not necessarily a shocking revelation that the Prime Minister has been talking to Mark Carney, a longtime Liberal, about a role he could play. Now, I think the more political analysis we can impose on this comment, Todd, is what is behind the scenes here. There has been some suggestions that from Liberals that if Mark Carney wants to get into the race and be a serious contender, either to join the Liberal Party in some capacity or potentially as Prime Minister, he has to kind of pay his dues and kind of get in the trenches and do the campaigning and get in there. So potentially coming in to help the government at this time, try to sell their economic message, a message they are kind of losing voters on in contrast to the Conservatives, could be a way for him to pay those dues. But there are others that have suggested he should stay as far away from this current Liberal government as possible to kind of improve his chances in the future. If he does want to run, not having being painted with the current Liberal government's brush could be to his advantage.
Well, politics can be ruthless, as we all know, but dumping Chrystia Freeland for Mark Carney would be perhaps particularly ruthless, to say nothing of the fact that the Conservatives are probably already preparing attack ads about how Mark Carney is an elitist and a globalist, and he ran the Bank of England, and he's totally out of touch with average Canadians. I can almost imagine it right now.
Yeah, I think what's really important here is that there's no imminent cabinet shuffle, but certainly any of these conversations about moving a piece here or there is something the Prime Minister's office spends a lot of time thinking about in advance. There's little minutiae details about maintaining that gender parity, but also regional representation. And certainly I think this Prime Minister would be mindful of not wanting to face the criticism of demoting the most senior woman in his cabinet completely. So would that be she keeps one of the roles and drops finance, stays as deputy, or how do they kind of spin this, if this is something they're going to do, those are all going to have to be key considerations, because it shouldn't be a situation where the overall image Canadians are getting, Todd, is that the Prime Minister is throwing someone else under the bus so he can keep going on.
Yeah, and you raised a great point too that I just want to touch on before we go, which is the idea that, let's say you are Mark Carney and you're interested maybe getting into politics. Why would you come now when the polls are so bad for the Liberal government? Why not wait until, let's say, a theoretical defeat for them, and then they have to find a new leader, and then you step in as the Liberal Messiah?
These are probably conversations anyone who would be eyeing a Liberal leadership run right now are weighing. You do have to kind of factor in, is your loyalty to the party and feeling very strongly about making sure you show the strongest defense against the Conservatives in the next election? Does that kind of altruism supersede your own personal ambitions? That is a question I don't have the answer to, Todd, but it's really going to be fascinating over the next couple months as we see as this plays out, because if the Prime Minister is having these conversations, kind of naming Carney directly in a conversation that we've all kind of been chatting about but not hearing him address head on. So that really struck me today as interesting, and certainly there seems to be some interesting conversations happening behind the scenes, and I look forward to watching how they all play out in the next couple weeks or months ahead of Parliament coming back in September.
I love talking politics with you, Rachel. Thanks for this today.
Yeah, me too, Todd. Anytime.
Rachel Aiello, CTV national correspondent in Ottawa.